Alright, K2 clutch. Down here on this area is this O-ring. Our inner piston has an O-ring here. Our return spring. On the outside here is another O-ring. Our springs have to go up inside of these holes. Alright, your snap ring will have a taper to it. You want the short end of the taper up towards you. You're going to put the opening of the snap ring either in this area or inside of here. We don't want it half and half. I can see where it was before. It was inside here. I'm going to stick it back there. Just like so. There's nothing here. On the back side here, there is a sealing ring. It's scarf cut, goes together just like that. These steels are 69 thousandths. I'm sorry, 79 thousandths. And clutches are 76, or pretty close to it from what I can gather. There's 6 of them. The pressure plate is 177 thousandths. And the snap ring is 97 thousandths. We have a race this side with the smaller. You can see where it was riding before. This was the outside where the bearing was riding. The race goes up like this, and there's another piece that this race goes in the back of. So for the momentary, I'll set this to the side. Okay, this race goes in the back of the case. You have a needle bearing and race goes on here. We have 2 sealing rings that go on the back. They're scarf cut and they go together just like so. Need be, put you some grease on there to hold those in place. Snap ring goes in the groove. We have the race, lip goes down. Bearing goes on there. Lip goes down inside of here. Sealing ring goes, make sure it's on the back of that drum. We have the thrust race that goes down here. Bearing on top. And then this race is going to go on the other side, so we're leaving it off for right now. Ring gear goes on this side down. You're going to have to pinch the snap ring together, and it needs to be in that opening right there. It goes together just like that. K1 clutch, there's an O-ring that goes here. O-ring that goes in here. This piston goes down. The return spring. O-ring on the outside. The return spring has to go on those indentions there. That piston's got to be pressed down, short end of the taper up. I'm going to put the opening over in one of these openings. Alright, I already closed the page. The steels are 77. The clutches are 78. Pressure plate, rounded edge down, 197. Snap ring, 96. The bearing and race goes down. And the race is going to fit on top of that. Okay, there's bearing and race down inside. It goes down just like so. Down in there. This clutch hub on the back does come off. There's 3, 6, 9, 12 bolts that hold it in. That race that we were just talking about, that goes down. Okay, I think this is the way I'm going to have to do this, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get this in once it's in the case. We got this wavy ring that goes down first, and it all has to fit up in the back of here. And then this star washer goes on. Then this goes down, and this snap ring has to go on the front. We want short end of the taper up again, of course. I don't think we're going to get this pressed in the case. It's pretty stout. So I'm going to put this in a foot press, put this together, and we're going to have to work that race back up into the sprag assembly. Alright, on the back of the sun gear is thrust race. Lip goes down. On the back side of the shell here, this thrust race and bearing. This race is going to go in the back of the sprag. The front side here is this bearing and race. Bearing faces up. Hub that goes in here, the race lip down. Okay, input shaft. We've got scarf cut rings again, go together just like so. Put grease on the groove if you need to hold these in there. Okay, this bearing and race goes in the back. This race goes on that drum that we just did, and the lip's going to face this way. We got 3 more sealing rings, the same. have the race, lip up, bearing, we have a Planetary. We have a hole in here and 2 tabs. The 2 tabs are here. The hole takes that one. Let's see, we're gonna have to put the sun gear in first. Or we could just put the race down, probably. And then put the sun gear in after. But that race has to go up in the back of the sun gear. And then the tabs on the washer go inside these holes. Alright, now go down. Why ain't you wanting to go? Looks like it might. Yeah, it only lines up one way. So I'm going to go ahead and put some grease on this to hold it in place. Okay, on this piston, it's going to cutout's going to face at the 6 o'clock position. There is an O-ring that goes on here. O-ring that goes on here, and an O-ring that goes in the center. Our return spring. Springs have to fit in the little recesses there. Short end of the taper of the snap ring up again. When we go to put these into the case, there's a rounded edge to the teeth. The flat edge on the bottom still is going to face down, the round edge up. We're going to alternate that up. The bottom pressure plate on this one is 196 thousandths. The clutches are 67. The steels are 77. The top pressure plate is 247. It has a rounded edge also. That's going to face down. The snap ring is 98 thousandths, and when we get that into the case, we'll show you where it goes. Alright, K3 drum, O-ring on the outside, O-ring in here. I'm going to try to air check this drum, see if I can figure out why this balance piston did what it did. Of course, I don't have a O-ring to put in the balance piston. The return spring goes down like that. Fingers, or the springs, have to fit up in the holes just like so. Short end of the taper up again. Opening we're going to put away from the opening. Okay, you can see that the balance piston is right up there at the edge. I have a feeling that the other piston is not machined properly. That or this groove is too deep. Steels, 125. Clutches, 78. Pressure plate, 167, rounded edge down, and put the opening of our snap ring away from the opening again. Well, and it is 94 thousandths. Okay, I'm gonna still air check this once I get my pump together. Oh, and then on top we have this 4-tab washer. Tabs have to fit in these little cutouts. I did forget to talk about the clutches that go in the case. Snap ring goes in first. Pressure plate is, the bottom pressure plate is 183. Clutches are 78. Steels are 77. Top pressure plate is 159. The top cushion plate is 56 thousandths, and the dish goes up. Okay, on your pump, front seal, the bearing, instead of a bushing in it, there's a snap ring that holds it in, so if they ever make it available, you could probably replace it. I bet you they don't make it available. Outer gear does not seem to have a difference of which way it goes. The inner gear has a triangle and it faces up. Line up our feed passages. Probably will only line up one direction. There's an O-ring on the outside of our piston. O-ring on the inside. There is a hole right here that this pin has to go into. Okay, yeah, it looks like our return spring is going to sit right there. 30 torques on the return spring, 30 torques on the other 4 bolts. I have to hunt up the other one. O-ring on the outside of the pump. Sealing rings or scarf cut go together the same as all the others. Tab on the washer sits right there. And then these tabs go in the back of this other drum, and that washer is going to ride there. We'll put that in the drum when we get to it. Okay, let me air check this other drum, and then we are ready to start putting this in the case. Get our input speed sensor, so I got to take that back off. Almost forgot it. There is an O-ring on that speed sensor. .30 torques on it. This little pin has to go in that hole. And we got our 30 torques, I believe, that holds that in. Put that on. May have to, I'm gonna have to do that with a wrench. remember how I got that out of there without. I think I pulled the stator up. That's what I did. That's what I did. Okay, get this back on there. Alright, now we're ready to go into the case. Okay, I came across some information on ATSG and it contradicts what they say, so I want to go over it here real quick. First off, here's that washer on the back of this drum. Okay, there's a 2-port and a 3-port torque converter, and the pump and the input shaft are different, the valve body is different. Now, according to the book, seminar book that ATSG put out, the spline count for a 2-port torque converter is supposed to be 20 splines, and the 3-port is supposed to be 24. Well, this is a 24 spline shaft. It is a 2-port torque converter. It does not have the O-ring here like the 3-port does. It only has 3 sealing rings here like the 3-port does. But it's got 24 splines like the 3-port is supposed to have. Also, the spline diameter right here is supposed to be 845 thousandths. You can see that it's 1 inch 8 thousandths. The bushing journal right here is supposed to be 865, and it's 118 like the if we can get it to come out right again. It's actually reading 125 now. It was reading 118 earlier. Maybe just the way I'm holding this. The 3-port's supposed to be 118. The diameter right here is supposed to be 1 inch 222 thousandths. This one's 1 inch 374. The height from here to here is supposed to be 3 inch 325, and we're at 3 inch 623. The bearing is the only thing that seems to be the same as what they say. I went ahead and took the bearing out. The 2-port has the bearing. The wide side faces up. The outside diameter is supposed to be 2 inch 47 thousandths, and that's what it is. Put the press the bearing in, and it's got the snap ring, of course, short end of the taper up like always, and then your seal. Like I said, the bearing seems to be the only thing that come out the dimension that they said it's supposed to be. So just be aware, just because that book says that's the way it's supposed to be, apparently there's some differences somewhere else down along the line, because this unit's been out there, it's never been touched before. It does have a 2-port torque converter. It does have a 2-port valve body. It does have the 2-port no O-ring here. The 2-port does not have holes in the stator. This one does not have holes. but there are dimensional differences between what the ATSG seminar book said and what is actually in this vehicle. Okay, I screwed up. This race goes in the very bottom of the case before you put that output shaft in. I am not going to take this all the way back apart to put that in there. Whoever does it next time can put it in there. I'm just going to stick it in the bottom of this case so it's in there. Yeah, let's see how much of this we can get done without hitting the camera. By the way, they did offer a bearing for that pump. It's an INA. Number is F-238394. And I'm not sure who you get it from, but there was a listing for it. Okay, make sure your bearing and race is on the back. Bearing and race is on the front here. Okay, make sure your races for your sprag is on there. Could probably go ahead and drop this on the output shaft before you put it down in here. Especially since you're going to have to line it with clutches, but mine, I don't have to line with any clutches because I don't have any in there. Okay, I'll measure what I have. That does not mean that's what you are going to have. The bottom pressure plate is 196. The rounded tooth goes up. The clutches are 67. The steels 71. The top plate is 246, rounded teeth go down. Opening of the snap ring is about the 4 o'clock, 4:30 position. Sitting right there. Alright, sprag race goes on, or the sprag. This side, the domed side, goes up. We're going to have to turn the Planetary clockwise to get that seat into there. Go. Looks like we're down. Snap ring is at the 4:30 position again. And sun gear with our race. We have the race with the lip, goes down. Bearing and race on the back of here. Bearing and race here. Race on the back here. Our thrust washer here. Bearing and race here. Race here. Sounds down. Washer on the front, washer on the back. Bearing and race and our sun gear. Bearing and race back here. Drum has to spline into those splines down there on that drum. Washer here, washer here. I have a feeling you could put those two drums together and drop it all down at the same time. Sounds like it's down. Alright, cushion plate, dish down. Actually, sorry, I'm going backwards. Thinking wrong. We got our snap ring. Goes in first. And I think that was at the 9 o'clock position. 96 thousandths. I had it marked right there, so that's where we're going to put it. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't get this up inside of there just a little bit. It would make me feel better. I'm going to leave it right there. Alright, this particular plate has the number 46 on it. And it's 179 thousandths. And looks like the big area goes down here. Clutches 80 thousandths, steels 78. Actually, I should have got a picture of that. say what they were. Yep, 78. And I flipped it upside down, messing around. Okay, cushion plate dish up. Lube up for our pump. Lube our pump O-ring. Make sure our washer's on there. Line up our ports. Okay, typical of most of these, they have the B on the heads. I would put a little bit of silicone underneath them. Good grade. Ultra black's fine. This is what I use. Alright, 12mm bolts to hold all this in. I'll get this all tightened down, get the tranny up on the bench and change camera angles, and then we're not going to actually put the valve body on because the customer wants to keep the valve body off, so we'll show everything else. Alright, put our linkage in. We got to line up the tabs on the shifter here. We have our pivot pin, our park actuator, spring goes up underneath the park actuator and goes in that little tab right there. These little feet go around right here. 12mm. I hold that in. I have the detent. The roller needs to be in the center of the rooster comb. This piece is going to go up underneath, just like so. 10mm bolt holds that in. Need to move that over just a little bit. There we go. Got our output speed sensor. Two 10 millimeters. One holds the sensor in itself. The other holds the wiring harness in that spot right there. We have our wiring harnesses. We want this harness that goes for the temperature sensors and the speed sensors in the top hole. And actually the top looking to be the bottom hole as you're looking at it from here. The top hole if you had it sitting upright from the outside. The other wiring harness goes in the other hole. And 10 millimeter bolt that holds it in. Our valve body on. Linkage has to line up right there. Alright, we get our bolts lined up. I'm not going to tighten them up because we're not leaving them in. Let's see what we got here. Okay, we got long ones and short ones. You can't screw it up. Long ones go here. Short ones go everywhere else. Okay, the output speed sensor pops on here. Make sure to pop on there. Ouch. There we go. And this harness, this is going to be our output speed sensor, temp sensor, pressure sensors. Temp sensor goes over here. Input speed sensor is going to go plug down inside of there. Temp sensor has this goes on right there. O-ring on that, make sure you change that. And then these are the filter bolts. They're going to go here, here, and here. Our other solenoids. This one is black connector, white wire. This one's blue connector, black wire. Blue red, white black, blue yellow, yellow purple, gray green, and the one over here is tan and light green. Alright, gotta take this back off because the customer wants to keep it. I'll go ahead and get a picture of this kind of in the way it goes. Put these up here without plugging them all the way in. So you know what it was like. This is a filter. O-ring goes on it right there. And the way I do my linkage seals on these is I don't take this rod all the way out. I just get a pocket screwdriver in here and I pop them out, grease them up, use a socket to drive them back in. One on each side. Your pan gasket has crush sleeves in there. So make sure those are in there. Go ahead and throw this in there so it's in there. Yep. Yep. Set your pan on. .10mm bolts that hold that in. And put the neutral switch on if you have it. And there is a tool to line that up with. I just put it back on the marks it was at. And let's see. Have this little cap and 12mm bolt that goes on out here, and we are done with this unit. They can turn it in as a core. Alright, we'll see you on the next one.